Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're also paying our humble Dandavat Pranams to Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this translation and commentary of Bhagavatam. And following the guidance of Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we are praying to Srimati Radharani. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati has said that unless we can understand Srimati Radharani through the 18,000 verses in Bhagavatam, then our study has been for waste. So following his guidance, we are praying to Srimati Radharani. Yadi seva vanchitasyama yasya kripaya vayam labema sarvam prapnuma prayojanam damni Shri Bhagavat Pade Krishna sambandhi sarvam cha yadi na jani mahe tutam ashtadashasu sahasreshu shlokanam Bhagavat oktishu radharanimna vindamatada nishphalam Bhagavat adhyayanam radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva parishrama. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham, and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, all our efforts are in vain. So now we continue from Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order. Chapter 26, King Purañjana goes to the forest to hunt, and his queen becomes angry. Text 6. Tirteshu pratidrishteshu Raja medhyan pashun vane Yavad artam alam lubdo Hanyad iti niyam yate. If a king is too attracted to eating flesh, he may, according to the directions of the revealed scriptures on sacrificial performances, go to the forest and kill some animals that are recommended for killing. One is not allowed to kill animals unnecessarily without restrictions. The Vedas regulate animal killing to stop the extravagance of foolish men influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. Purport. The question may be raised, why a living being should be restricted in sense gratification. If a king, to learn how to kill, may go to the forest and kill animals, why should a living entity who has been given senses not be allowed unrestricted sense gratification? At the present moment, this argument is put forward even by so-called swamis and yogis, who publicly say that because we have senses, we must satisfy them by sense gratification. These foolish swamis and yogis, however, do not know the injunctions of the Shastras. Indeed, sometimes these rascals come out to defy the Shastras. They even publicly announce that there should be no more Shastras, no more books. Just come to me, they say, and I shall touch you, and you will become immediately spiritually advanced. Because demoniac people want to be cheated, so many cheaters are present to cheat them. At the present moment, in this age of Kali Yuga, the entire human society has become an assembly of cheaters and cheated. For this reason, the Vedic scriptures have given us the proper directions for sense gratification. Everyone is inclined in this age to eat meat and fish, drink liquor, and indulge in sex life. But according to the Vedic injunctions, sex is allowed only in marriage. Meat eating is allowed only when the animal is killed and offered before the goddess Kali, and intoxication is allowed only in a restricted way. In this verse, the word niyamyate indicates that all these things, namely animal killing, intoxication, and sex, should be regulated. Regulations are meant for human beings, not for animals. The traffic regulations on the street telling people to keep right or left are meant for human beings, not for animals. If an animal violates such a law, he is never punished, but a human being is punished. The Vedas are not meant for the animals, but for the understanding of human society. A person who is indiscriminately violating the rules and regulations given by the Vedas is liable to be punished. One should therefore not enjoy his senses according to his lusty desires, but should restrict himself according to the regulative principles given in the Vedas. If a king is allowed to hunt in a forest, it is not for his sense gratification. We cannot simply experiment in the art of killing. If a king, being afraid to meet rogues and thieves, kills poor animals and eats their flesh comfortably at home, he must lose his position. Because in this age kings have such demoniac propensities, monarchy is abolished by the laws of nature in every country. People have become so degraded in this age that on the one hand they restrict polygamy and on the other hand they hunt for women in so many ways. Many business concerns publicly advertise that topless girls are available in this club or in that shop. Thus women have become instruments of sense enjoyment in modern society. The Vedas enjoin, however, that if a man has the propensity to enjoy more than one wife, as is sometimes the propensity for men in the higher social order, such as the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, then even sometimes the Sudras, he is allowed to marry more than one wife. Marriage means taking complete charge of a woman and living peacefully without debauchery. At the present moment, however, debauchery is unrestricted. Nonetheless, society makes a law that one should not marry more than one wife. This is typical of a demoniac society. Text 7. Ya evam karma niyatam vedvan kurvita manava karmana tena rajandra jnanena nasa lipyate. Narada Muni continued to speak to King Prachinabarhisat. My dear king, any person who works according to the directions of the Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities. Purport. Just as a government may issue trade licenses in order for its citizens to act in a certain way, the Vedas contain injunctions that restrain and regulate all of our fruitive activities. All living entities have come into this material world to enjoy themselves. Consequently, the Vedas are given to regulate sense enjoyment. One who enjoys his senses under the Vedic regulative principles does not become entangled in the actions and reactions of his activities. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yagyartat Karamana. One should act only for the performance of yagya, or to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Otherwise, any action will produce a reaction by which the living entity will be bound. A human being is especially meant to attain liberation from the bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease. He is therefore directed by the Vedic regulative principles to work in such a way that he may fulfill his desires for sense gratification, and at the same time gradually become freed from material bondage. According action according to such principles is called knowledge. Indeed, the word Veda means knowledge. The words jnanena nasalipyate indicate that by following the Vedic principles, one does not become involved in the actions and reactions of his fruitive activities. Everyone is therefore advised to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions and not irresponsibly. When a person within a state acts according to the laws and licenses of the government, he does not become involved in criminal activities. Man-made laws, however, are always defective because they are made by men who are prone to committing mistakes, being illusioned, cheating, and having imperfect senses. The Vedic instructions are different because they do not have these four defects. Vedic instructions are not subject to mistakes. The knowledge of the Vedas is knowledge received directly from God, and there is consequently no question of illusion, cheating, mistakes, or imperfect senses. All Vedic knowledge is perfect because it is received directly from God by the parampara disciplic succession. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1 it is said, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. The original creature of this universe, known as the Adi Kavi, or Lord Brahma, was instructed by Krishna through the heart. After receiving these Vedic instructions from Lord Krishna himself, Brahma distributed the knowledge by the parampara system to Narada, and Narada in turn distributed the knowledge to Vyasa. In this way, Vedic knowledge is perfect. If we act according to Vedic knowledge, there is no question of being involved in sinful activities. Text 8. Anyata karma kurvano manarudho nibhadyate guna prabha patito nashta pragyo prajatyada. Otherwise, a person who acts whimsically falls down due to false prestige. Thus he becomes involved in the laws of nature, which are composed of the three qualities: goodness, passion, and ignorance. In this way, a living entity becomes devoid of his real intelligence and becomes perpetually lost in the cycle of birth and death. Thus he goes up and down from a microbe and stool to a high position in the Brahmaloka planet. Purport. There are many important words in this verse. The first is anyata, otherwise, which indicates one who does not care for the Vedic rules and regulations. The rules and regulations laid down in the Vedas are called Shastra Vidhi. Bhagavad Gita clearly states that one who does not accept the Shastra Vidhi, or rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedic scriptures, and acts whimsically or puffed up with false pride, never attains perfection in this life, nor does he attain happiness or liberation from the material condition. Yashastra vidhim utrija vartate kama karata nasashadhim avapnoti nasukam na param gatim. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Thus, one who is deliberately transgressing the rules and regulations of the Shastras is simply involving himself more and more in material existence, in the three modes of material nature. Human society should therefore follow the Vedic principles of life, which are summarized in Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, life in the material existence will continue. Foolish persons do not know that the soul is passing through 8,400,000 species of life. By the gradual process of evolution, when one comes to the human form of life, he is supposed to follow the rules and regulations laid down in the Vedas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the living entity, since time immemorial, is suffering the threefold miseries of material nature due to his demoniac attitude, which is his spirit of revolt against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna also confirms this in Bhagavad Gita 15.7. Bhamhayavamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashastan indriyani prakriti stani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. Every living entity is part and parcel of God. There is no reason for the living entities being put into miserable threefold condition of material existence, but that he voluntarily accepts material existence on the false pretext of becoming an enjoyer. To save him from this horrible condition, the Lord has given all the Vedic literatures in his incarnation of Vyasadeva. Therefore it is said, Krishna Buli Sei Jiva Anadi Bahir Mukha Ateva Maya Taredeya Samsara Dukkha. By forgetting Krishna, the living entity has become materialistic since time immemorial. Therefore, the illusory energy of Krishna is giving him different types of miseries in material existence. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Chapter 20, Text 117. Maya Muta Jivera Nahi Svata Krishna Jnana Jivere Kripaya Kaila Krishna Ved Purana. When a living entity is enchanted by the external energy, he cannot revive his original Krishna consciousness independently. Due to such circumstances, Krishna has kindly given him the Vedic literatures such as the 4 Vedas and 18 Puranas. CC Madhya 20.122. Every human being should therefore take advantage of the Vedic instructions. Otherwise, one will be bound by his whimsical activities and will be without any guide. The word Manarudha is also very significant in this verse. Under the pretext of becoming great philosophers and scientists, men throughout the whole world are working on the mental platform. Such men are generally non-devotees, due to not caring for the instructions given by the Lord to the first living creature, Lord Brahma. The Bhagavatam 5.18.12 therefore says, Harav abhakshasya kuto Harav abhakshasyu kuto mahadguna manoratena shati tavato bahihi. A person who is a non-devotee has no good qualifications because he acts on the mental platform. One who acts on the mental platform has to change his standard of knowledge periodically. We consequently see that one philosopher may disagree with another philosopher, one scientist may put forward a theory contradicting the theory of another scientist. All of this is due to their working on the mental platform without a standard of knowledge. In the Vedic instructions, however, the standard of knowledge is accepted, even though it may sometimes appear that the statements are contradictory. Because the Vedas are the standard of knowledge, even though they may appear contradictory, they should be accepted. If one does not accept them, he will be bound by the material conditions. The material conditions are described in this verse as guna pravaha, the flowing of the 3 modes of material nature. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore says in a song, Miche mayara vase yache base beshe kacha habudugu bai. Why are you suffering? Why are you sometimes being drowned in the waves of material nature and sometimes coming to the surface? Jiva Krishna dasa e vishvasa karle ta'ara dukkha nai. Please therefore accept yourself as the servant of Krishna. Then you will be freed from all miseries. As soon as one surrenders to Krishna and accepts the perfect standard of knowledge, which is Bhagavad Gita as it is, he then comes out of material modes of nature and does not fall down and lose his knowledge. Nashta pragya. The word pragya means perfect knowledge. Nasta pragya means one who has no perfect knowledge. One who does not have perfect knowledge has only mental speculation. By such mental speculation, one falls down and down into a hellish condition of life. By transgressing the laws laid down in the Shastras, one cannot become pure in heart. When one's heart is not purified, one acts according to the three material modes of nature. These activities are very nicely explained in verses 1 through 6 of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita 2.45 explains, Tragunya Vishaya Vedha Nishtragunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvanvo Nitya Sattvasto Niryoga Chema Atmavan. The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna, be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. The entire world and all material knowledge is within three modes of material nature. One has to transcend these modes, and to attain that platform of transcendence, one must follow the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus become perfect in life. Otherwise, one will be knocked down by the waves of material nature's three modes. This is further explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.30 in the words of Prahlad Maharaj. Matirnha Krishne Partosvatova Mito Bipadyeta Grihavratanam Adanta Gopir Vishitam Tamishram Puna Punascharvita Charavandanam. Materialistic persons who are too much engaged in material enjoyment and who do not know anything beyond their material experiences are carried away by whims of material nature. They live a life characterized by chewing the chewed, and they are controlled by their uncontrolled senses. Thus they go down to the darkest regions of hellish life. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 9 on Wednesday. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur
Jai.
Dham Ki Jai,
Jai.
Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath
Jai.
Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai,
Jai.
Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai,
Jai.
Giri Govardhan, Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham
Jai.
Kund, Radha Kund Ki Jai,
Jai.
Tulsa Devi, Bhakti Devi, Vrinda Devi Ki Jai,
Jai.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai,
Jai.
Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai,
Jai.
Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai,
Jai.
Jai Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute Ki Jai,
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai,
Jai.
Itai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari
Hari
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Jai Shrimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai.
Jai Gurudev. Sripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu Ji ki Jai.
Dhanyavad
Dandavad.
Tiri.
Dandavad.